Hello, my name is Julie Causey, and I'm with ViaTechMD, and we have a breakthrough medical device treatment in the prevention of preterm birth. What I'd like to do today is tell you just a little bit about not only our business model, but the actual problem that we're attacking here, which is the prevention of preterm birth, and our solution, which is a cervical stabilization device. I'm going to start with a 5-minute video, and then we're going to spend 3 minutes talking about the business model.
Preterm birth is a growing global human healthcare crisis involving more than 1 in every 10 pregnancies and is the leading cause of infant death and morbidity within the first month of life. Its socioeconomic consequences exceeding $52 billion each year. Conditions known to contribute to preterm birth include incompetent cervix, organ and tissue compromise, multiple fetus pregnancies, late life pregnancies, too early in life pregnancies, and more. No proven treatments exist for conditions that may lead to preterm birth, particularly for mid to early term indications occurring before rescue and emergency treatment is possible. Early warning signs are common, including multiple fetuses, widening or opening of the cervical canal, thinning and shortening of the uterine cervix, and other indications of an accelerated effacement and dilation process. As pregnancy progresses, bearing forces acting upon the uterine cervix stimulate hormonal changes that drive the effacement and dilation process. When this process becomes overly accelerated, and in the case of incompetent cervix and certain other conditions, the risk of preterm birth becomes a paramount concern. Bearing forces imposing upon a compromised uterine cervix can cause premature rupture of membranes, leading to an untimely birthing event that can have tragic consequences. Premature birth is a significant cause of lifelong crippling disease, including autism, cerebral palsy, blindness, deafness, cognitive disabilities, and more. ViaTechMD's patented cervical stabilization device, known as CSD, offers the first and only early to late stage, medication-free, and non-invasive treatment for a wide range of conditions known to contribute to preterm birth. The device is comprised of a cervical cup including highly compliant lip portions, a balloon portion, and resilient core tube, providing natural ventilation and drainage and linear structure. CSD is designed to resist and limit bearing forces acting upon the uterine cervix in order to reduce effacement and dilation stimuli. This function is accomplished by isolating and protecting the uterine cervix within the device's cup-like feature, including its highly compliant lip portions, which gently engage the posterior and anterior cervical fornices to oppose bearing forces while bridging and disposing of those forces by supple nesting of the device's impassable volume upon the tissues of the pelvic floor. CSD is positioned by introducing the device in its deflated form, properly oriented so that the cervical cup portion surrounds the uterine cervix while the cup's lip portions engage the cervical fornices. CSD is inflated to achieve individualized fitment for a wide range of patient types. On a case-to-case basis, patient fitment may be long-term, from the onset of early indications to as short as days when CSD may be utilized in support of cerclage. CSD may be removed from time to time as pregnancy progresses, to be replaced with an incrementally shorter device, providing for a controlled and more natural progression of the effacement and dilation process. As controlled effacement and dilation progresses, the gentle contact of the device's lip portion then engages the thinning tissues of the cervix, thereby supporting the amniotic sac to prevent premature rupture of membranes. With CSD in place, a patient experiencing a complicated pregnancy will find comfort knowing the risk of preterm rupture of membranes and preterm birth is greatly reduced, in many cases allowing the patient to resume generally normal activities until the time of birth. By utilizing CSD to slow and control the effacement and dilation process, full-term and natural birthing experiences will replace often tragic rescue and emergency treatments involving risky and unproven cerclage and pharmaceutical therapy that do not assure full-term outcomes and often demand cesarean section deliveries.
So what we have here is a company that has a remarkable combination of being a high impact company, as well as being one with tremendous economic upside. And as you well know, those are both rocket fuel to an early stage company, to have an impact company, which is very interesting to investors, but also one with tremendous economic upside. Um, in the context of this device, we are really focused on three kinds of impact. One is save the babies and obviously prevent the morbidity that's associated with those babies that are born way too early. The second is the disruption of the healthcare industry, because we have the opportunity here to take tremendous expense out of the healthcare system. This is not only a very high volume medical issue, but it's also one that's very expensive on an incident to incident basis. The third is that women of color have a 50% higher incidence of preterm birth. And so there's an issue of public health here and equity, if you will. From an operating and business strategy standpoint, we really are focused on partnering with world-class staff. We work with Freudenberg on the manufacturing side and have scalable manufacturing already at this point. Styrus is our CRO, our contract research organization. Mark Duvall and team are regulatory counsel, and they do a phenomenal job. Many of you know them. And we're focused on an exit strategy really within 2 or 3 years that would mean ViaTech being sold to a big multinational like a Boston Scientific. That's an example of a company that has tremendous depth in men's and women's health, but doesn't have a lot of depth in OB-gynecology in particular, and nor do any of the other big multinationals. And we'd like to do so with United Healthcare being a huge partner of ours in the market making, if you will. They're very interested, and we've talked to a bunch to their chief medical officer, Dr. Migliori, about making it standard of care for the physicians in their operation. They've got 120 million covered lives, and the physicians that represent those patients are obviously deep and wide. And so thinking about an exit to a Boston Scientific with the market making from UHG. You can see here that our financial projections are absolutely stratospheric. We could talk in more depth at another time about that. At the moment, we've raised $3.5 million, all in friends and family, and we're seeking an additional $8 million of capital to get to exit. That first $1.5 million will be spent over the next year getting the studies and trials that lead up to our Q1 FDA human clinical trial in the beginning of 2021. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate the forum to speak to you.